What's up everybody, Grant here from Spectra Racing. So you're probably wondering why I own a MK4 GTI and a Mustang. Don't those seem like complete polar opposites, being that one has 200 horsepower, one has 600 plus horsepower? Well, let's get right into it. Alright, so if you haven't seen the videos on both of these cars we're going to be talking about, be sure to check out the GTI videos here and the Mustang videos, which I've been doing for like 6+ years now over here. So the first and most obvious thing is the cost. A MK4 GTI is just going to be dirt cheap. We got our car for free. You can probably pick your car up for like $2 grand, if that. We found roller cars for $1,000 that just need a $300 or $400 motor. Now the cars are a little bit harder to work on than a Mustang, being that they're small and German and complicated, but the cost is a big difference. So the modifications. So the modifications on the cars leaps and bounds cheaper for MK4 GTI. So, something recently, as you see in this video, we went to Autocross to test some of the suspension mods we did to the car. I had to rebuild all the front suspension as we were going to do an axle, so I might as well just do, we did the tie rods, lower control arms, ball joints, and like I said, the axle and wheel bearing. I think we did that all for about $350, which is just crazy. And those were OEM spec parts. They weren't, kind of race parts or anything. It was all standard rubber bushings, but still better than the 160,000 mile plus bushings that were in the car. Now, if I think I did that in the Mustang, and if I just did OEM parts on the Mustang, it'd be at least $1,000. So another big cost with the GTI versus the Mustang is track insurance. Now, the Mustang has a lot of time and money invested into it. You could probably get a cheaper, like Fox Body Mustang or something, and still, I don't really think you get to the point where you wouldn't really want to buy track insurance for a Mustang. The GTI, our total time, money invested into it, like $2,500, most of that just being the roll cage. So that is a great thing, not having to buy track insurance. And some races you can't even buy track insurance for. Most wheel-to-wheel races you can't. You can for some time trials, but it's just too expensive. So one of the things I hear a lot is, it's my car and I don't want to race it. Well, getting a cheap beater race car is great because you don't care about it. If you put it into a wall, get another one. The Mustang I've had for almost 10 years now. So 10 years and a lot of money invested into it. At autocross, yeah, I'm gonna do 10 tenths in autocross like you see in this video. But at track days, I'm not gonna push it I'm not gonna push it to the limit. And especially a rear wheel drive, 600 brake horsepower at the motor. Out on track is gonna be a little bit more difficult to drive than a 200 horsepower front wheel drive MK4 GTI. And with the beater car, the GTI is kind of like those episodes of Top Gear, the Grand Tour, where their car that they brought and built breaks down and then they got to go drive the Reliant Robin. For us right now, it's kind of what the GTI is like. Maybe not that bad, but pretty close. So skill is probably the next thing to get into. So let's say, for me, the Mustang, been driving it for 6+ years at events, rear wheel drive, tons of power. Becoming a better driver isn't always just about learning one type of car. The GTI is completely different. 200 horsepower, front wheel drive, very small, short wheelbase, completely different than Mustang. I find it a real challenge and a real thrill just to drive something that's so completely different than the Mustang. And even that, like I said, the GTI out on track at Road Atlanta, drive it at 10 tenths, 13 tenths, not as many consequences in that car as there are in the Mustang, being that you're going a lot faster and it's a lot easier to get in trouble. So lastly, the best way to afford a cheap track car is to split it with your friends. Now with the Mustang, the initial cost, kind of too high to split with a couple friends. Cost to modify it, kind of too high to split with friends. GTI, well, it's pretty affordable to split with a couple people. Now the way we did it, now obviously we got our car for free, but we did an initial buy-in. Everyone had to do $600 buy-in, and that kind of helped us get some funds for the car. And we had, bank account all set up for it and everything. And what we do is you have time and money invested. So let's say you don't have a ton of time to work on it. You just throw money at the bank account for people to buy parts, for the group to buy parts and stuff like that. But if you don't have a lot of money, then you can work on it. So, you know, for instance, I redid the entire front suspension on the GTI, you know, spent 8-10 hours on the whole effort doing the axles and all those kinds of things. And that established a ranking. So the ranking, what it did is, for instance, last week at the firm, I was in first place after working on the car for a long period of time with Ash in second place. So I got to race first. Ash got in the car second. The car promptly broke down on him on the second driver. And so Scott was also there, and he unfortunately didn't get to run, but he did bring his own car. So he did, and we filmed this video here with his mom. It was pretty funny if you haven't seen that. So, you know, it's a good way to establish race priority, because, you know, at a race, you're not always guaranteed to run, you know, if the car doesn't make it to you. Now, thankfully, the GTI is cheap to fix, and the fix that is only going to cost about $40, and we'll get it back on the track. Well, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching.